World War II, a time of heroes, a time of innovation. It was a period marked by extraordinary bravery and unprecedented technological advancements. The skies were filled with the roar of engines and the thunder of aerial combat. Pilots became legends, and their aircraft, icons of a bygone era. From this crucible of conflict emerged legends, aircraft that would forever be etched in the annals of history. The Spitfire, the Mustang, the Thunderbolt, these names evoke images of daring dogfights and heroic deeds. One such legend, the P-39 Airacobra, though it may not be as universally recognized as some of its contemporaries, the Airacobra carved out its own unique place in the story of World War II aviation. Now, the Airacobra might not be as famous as the Mustang or the Spitfire. These aircraft often overshadowed it in terms of sheer popularity and recognition, but the Airacobra had its own distinct charm and capabilities that set it apart. But this plane, it had a heart of a lion. Pilots who flew the P-39 often spoke of its ruggedness and reliability. It was a machine that demanded respect and rewarded those who mastered its quirks with exceptional performance. The Airacobra was a looker, no doubt, sleek lines, tricycle landing gear. Its design was ahead of its time, featuring innovations that would influence aircraft design for years to come. A potent engine, right behind the pilot. This unconventional placement gave the Airacobra a unique balance and handling characteristic that set it apart from other fighters of its era. Yep, you heard that right. This bird was different. Its design choices were bold and to some controversial, but it was these very differences that made the Airacobra a fascinating aircraft to study and fly. Some folks called it quirky, others downright dangerous. The Airacobra's unique design and handling characteristics meant it wasn't for the faint of heart. Pilots needed skill and courage to bring out the best in this aircraft, but for those who knew her, who flew her, the Airacobra was a true fighter. It was a plane that could hold its own in the heat of battle, delivering performance and firepower when it was needed most. This is the story of the P-39 Airacobra, a tale of innovation, bravery, and a machine that, despite its challenges, earned its place in the pantheon of World War II aircraft. A story of innovation, of grit, and of a plane that, against all odds, made its mark on history. So buckle up, folks. We're about to dive deep into the legacy of the P-39 Airacobra. We're going for a ride in this unique piece of aviation history. From its inception to its deployment in various theaters of war, the Airacobra's journey is one of resilience and adaptation. Get ready to learn about a plane that was more than just metal and rivets. It was a symbol of the ingenuity and determination of the engineers and designers who brought it to life. It was a symbol of American ingenuity. The Airacobra represented a bold step forward in aircraft design, pushing the boundaries of what was possible at the time, a testament to the bravery of the pilots who flew her. These men took to the skies in a machine that was as challenging as it was rewarding, showcasing their skill and courage in every mission, and a reminder that sometimes the underdog comes out on top. The P-39 Airacobra may not have been the most famous aircraft of its time, but it proved that with determination and innovation, even the most unconventional designs can achieve greatness. The 1930s. A decade of profound change and uncertainty. The world was in a state of flux, with political tensions simmering just beneath the surface. Nations were rearming, economies were recovering from the Great Depression, and the specter of another global conflict loomed large. The world was holding its breath. War was coming. Everyone could feel it. The air was thick with anticipation, and the newspapers were filled with stories of military buildups and diplomatic standoffs. People gathered around radios, listening intently to the latest news, trying to make sense of the rapidly changing world around them. In the United States, the Army Air Corps knew it needed a new fighter. The existing aircraft were becoming obsolete, and the threat of advanced enemy fighters was real. The military brass convened meetings discussing the future of aerial combat and the need for a revolutionary new aircraft that could dominate the skies, a fighter for a new kind of war. Enter Bell Aircraft. Founded by Lawrence Bell, this company was known for its innovative approach to aircraft design. Bell Aircraft had a reputation for pushing the boundaries of what was possible, and they were ready to take on the challenge of creating a game-changing fighter plane. This company, known for pushing boundaries, answered the call. The engineers at Bell Aircraft were a talented and dedicated group, always looking for new ways to improve their designs. They worked tirelessly, brainstorming and sketching out ideas, determined to create an aircraft that would give the United States a significant advantage in the coming conflict. They had a radical idea: an idea that would challenge conventional wisdom and redefine what a fighter plane could be. The engineers knew that to create something truly revolutionary, they would need to think outside the box and take risks that others might shy away from. An idea that would become the P-39 Airacobra. The design was daring. It was innovative. The P-39 was unlike any aircraft that had come before it. The engineers at Bell Aircraft poured their hearts and souls into the project, meticulously crafting every detail to ensure that the Airacobra would be a formidable force in the skies. And it was unlike anything the world had ever seen. When the prototype was unveiled, it caused quite a stir. Crowds gathered to catch a glimpse of this futuristic aircraft, marveling at its sleek lines and advanced features. The P-39 Airacobra was a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of excellence. The Airacobra was built around a powerful Allison engine. This engine was the heart of the aircraft, providing the power and performance needed to outmaneuver and outgun enemy fighters. The engineers at Bell Aircraft worked closely with Allison to ensure that the engine was perfectly integrated into the design of the P-39. But here's the twist: the engine wasn't in the nose, like most planes. This unconventional placement was a bold move, but it allowed for some unique design advantages. By placing the engine behind the pilot, the engineers were able to achieve better weight distribution and improve the aircraft's overall performance. No sir, Bell put it, wait for it, behind the pilot. This rear-mounted engine configuration was a game-changer. It allowed for a more streamlined design and opened up new possibilities for armament placement. The engineers at Bell Aircraft were breaking new ground, and the results were nothing short of spectacular. This unusual layout, it was meant to make room for a big bad 37mm cannon firing right through the propeller hub. This cannon was a formidable weapon, capable of delivering devastating firepower. The engineers designed the P-39 to be a true force to be reckoned with, combining speed, agility, and firepower in a single deadly package. This was cutting-edge stuff, folks. The P-39 Airacobra represented the pinnacle of aircraft technology at the time. The engineers at Bell Aircraft were constantly testing and refining their designs, pushing the limits of what was possible. Their dedication and innovation were key to the success of the Airacobra. The Airacobra was designed to be a hard-hitting, high-altitude interceptor. Its primary mission was to engage and destroy enemy aircraft at high altitudes, where traditional fighters struggled to operate. The P-39's unique design and powerful armament made it ideally suited for this role, and it quickly became a favorite among pilots. It was a bold vision, a vision that promised to revolutionize aerial combat. The engineers at Bell Aircraft were not content with simply building a better fighter. They wanted to change the very nature of air warfare. Their innovative designs and forward-thinking approach set the stage for a new era of aerial combat, a vision that promised to revolutionize aerial combat. The P-39 Airacobra was more than just an aircraft. It was a symbol of human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Its impact on the world of aviation was profound, and its legacy continues to inspire future generations of engineers and pilots. The P-39 Airacobra wasn't just different on the inside. It was a head-turner, sleek, modern, streamlined. It looked like it was going fast even when it was sitting still. Remember that engine behind the pilot? Well, that meant the Airacobra needed a car-like door for the pilot to enter and exit. Talk about stylish. This unique feature made the Airacobra stand out on any airfield. But the innovations didn't stop there. The Airacobra was one of the first fighters to feature tricycle landing gear. This made it much easier to handle on the ground, especially for green pilots. No more nose-overs with this bird. And then there was that 37mm cannon. This wasn't your granddaddy's pea shooter. This was a serious piece of firepower. The Airacobra packed a punch that could take down enemy bombers and fighters with just a few hits. Section 4. A Cobra with a bite armament and firepower. Let's talk about firepower. The P-39 Airacobra was a unique aircraft in many ways, but its armament truly set it apart from other fighters of its time. The Airacobra didn't mess around. That 37mm cannon? It was the star of the show. This cannon was not just any weapon, it was a game-changer in aerial combat. Mounted in the nose, it provided a direct line of fire, which was a significant advantage. Firing right through the propeller hub, it gave the Airacobra a fearsome punch. This design allowed for a more accurate and powerful shot, making it a formidable opponent in the skies. The cannon's placement also meant that the recoil was better managed, allowing pilots to maintain control even during intense firing. But that wasn't all. Oh no, the Airacobra was packing heat. In addition to the 37mm cannon, the aircraft was equipped with an array of other weapons that made it a versatile and deadly machine. It also boasted 2.50 caliber machine guns mounted in the nose. These machine guns provided a rapid rate of fire, complementing the heavy punch of the cannon. The combination of these weapons allowed the Airacobra to engage a variety of targets effectively, and for good measure it could carry 2 more .30 caliber machine guns in the wings. These wing-mounted guns added to the aircraft's firepower, giving it the ability to lay down a withering hail of bullets. This made the Airacobra not only a threat to enemy fighters, but also to ground targets and larger aircraft. This arsenal made the Airacobra a versatile weapon. It could adapt to different combat scenarios, whether it was dogfighting with enemy fighters or taking on larger, more fortified targets. The flexibility in its armament allowed pilots to switch tactics on the fly, making the Airacobra a valuable asset in any mission. It could mix it up with enemy fighters in dogfights. The agility and firepower of the Airacobra made it a formidable opponent in close-quarters combat. Pilots could rely on its robust armament to gain the upper hand in these intense aerial battles, or it could go after larger targets like bombers and ground-attack aircraft. The heavy cannon and machine guns were particularly effective against these bigger, slower-moving targets. The Airacobra could deliver devastating blows, crippling enemy bombers and disrupting ground operations. The Airacobra's pilots loved its firepower. They appreciated the confidence it gave them in combat, knowing they had the tools to handle almost any situation. The combination of speed, agility, and firepower made the Airacobra a favorite among those who flew it. They said it hit like a ton of bricks. The impact of its weapons was undeniable, and enemy pilots quickly learned to respect the Airacobra's bite. The damage it could inflict was substantial, often turning the tide of battle in favor of the Allies. One pilot even described it as throwing a hand grenade with a rope tied to it. This vivid description highlights the sheer power and explosive impact of the Airacobra's armament. It was a force to be reckoned with, and its legacy as a powerful fighter plane endures to this day. Section 5. Finding its stride, the Airacobra in the skies of Europe. When war broke out in Europe, the Airacobra was ready. The British were some of the first to fly the Airacobra in combat. They were eager to get their hands on this hard-hitting American fighter. But there was a problem. See, the Airacobra, it was designed to be a high-altitude interceptor. But the air war over Europe, it was being fought at lower altitudes. And at those lower altitudes, the Airacobra, well, it wasn't as effective. It struggled to keep up with the nimble German fighters. The British, they weren't too impressed. So they decided to use the Airacobra in a different role. They used it for ground attack missions, where its firepower could be put to good use. And you know what? The Airacobra, it excelled in this new role. Section 6. Red Star Rising, the Airacobra on the Eastern Front. While the Airacobra was having a mixed time in Europe, it was about to find its true calling. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union was locked in a desperate struggle with Nazi Germany. The Soviets, they needed all the help they could get, and they got it, in the form of the P-39 Airacobra. The United States, through the Lend-Lease program, sent thousands of Airacobras to the Soviet Union. Now, the air war on the Eastern Front was different. It was fought at lower altitudes. It was brutal, and it was perfect for the Airacobra. The Soviet pilots, they loved the Airacobra. They loved its ruggedness, they loved its firepower, and they loved how it could outmaneuver the German fighters at low altitude.